What is your best and that's why I'm single moment? I was bored one night, so I went out and bought some industrial strength balloons, came home and spent like 4 or 5 hours learning to make balloon animals. In the afterglow, surrounded by my little rubber friends, I wondered what the heck I'd just done. A little while back I saw a beautiful girl, just drop dead gorgeous, and it suddenly hit me how much effort she had put into it. The clothes, the makeup, the hair, not to mention the probable workouts and dieting. And I realized that if I wanted a girl like that I had to put in the same effort. Since then I've been intermittently single rather than completely single. Just this morning, I realized I have been washing my clothes with Cascade dish detergent for the past few months. I bet your briefs had a streak-free shine that you just couldn't compare to the bargain brand though. Hanging out in the hot springs in Banff, in the deep end, and this very attractive woman sits near me. I strike up a conversation with her, and things are going really well. Then, my youngest comes over to check in with me, then my third kid, then my second kid, then my oldest kid. I looked over, and pretty lady was gone. Try being a single mom with a special needs kid. I might as well have flamethrowers for boobs and a double-headed dong. My job title on Facebook said Dragonborn for about 2.5 years. That may have been it. Finally alone with cute girl I've been crushing on since orientation week of university. We're in the basement of a campus building cleaning out a storage room for a student group. I'm desperately trying to make interesting conversation and being the smooth ladies man I am, I bust out this line. So, long pause. Do you think there are any security cameras down here? Catching my reflection in the TV after I dropped the spoon on the floor and had just started waggling my finger around in the Nutella jar to get the last bits out. On Valentine's Day I photoshopped a picture of a date, the fruit, to look like it was on fire and posted it to Facebook saying got a hot date tonight I sat down at my record player with all my 45s and posted a picture on Facebook saying I was hanging with a bunch of singles. I feel like we should be friends. I was on a date and had an itch on my chin so I scratched it while talking to her and it turned out to be one of those zits that just bleeds and bleeds. The last time I was at a bar with my buddy, I walked us over to 2 girls and opened with what's the worst thing that has ever happened to you. My buddy's head just dropped with a long sigh. You are a living manifestation of our AskReddit. A drunk woman came into a supermarket where I was working and tried to convince me I'd go out with her daughter, who was quite attractive. It then somehow came to showing baby pictures she had of one of her other children, I think, and then I said that one's a bit young for me. Bam. The mother freaked out at my shockingly tasteless joke and any chance I had with her daughter was gone. Just why I thought it would be a good idea to make a joke like that at that moment I have no idea. Hey, you weren't the one drunkenly pimping out your kid at a supermarket. A nice girl just after I graduated university explained to me why I was single. In university, and shortly after, I would grow a little white boy afro and had these huge mutton chop sideburns. In university it actually worked out for me when I grew it out. I'm at a small house party and I see a girl I find attractive. I walk over to her and try striking up a conversation. She said, "You're not 20 anymore. Grow up. You're not getting any girls like that." I cut the hair to corporate world appropriate levels, lost the chops, and it turns out she was right. Way more success after I did that. If you're out there mystery party lady, thanks for that. I think the last time I approached a girl at the bar I opened with, "What's your favorite dinosaur?" I made a Skyrim reference in a conversation with a girl I was interested in. It took me a while to shrug it off. If she's not into Skyrim you need to look elsewhere. Received a straightforward booty call a few weeks ago, and I asked the lady in question if she could bring pudding with her. When she arrived she pointed out that I'd seen the booty call more as an opportunity to be fed than a chance for social interaction, and she was absolutely right. At this point I may just be in the market for sex and pudding, and that's generally not conducive to a full-blown relationship. I was at a bar with a few girlfriends when a group of dudes approached us to chat. They introduced themselves and shook our hands. One introduced himself to me and said, "Nice to meet you. I'm Mario." I couldn't help but respond with "It's me, Mario," in a horrible Italian accent. Women like you are the reason I like women in the first place. My 29-year-old friend was getting a lot of pressure from his girlfriend to get his life together. So, he decided that the fastest way to do that was to join the army. I said to myself, and that's why I am single. Went to a party with an extremely hot girl who was completely into me. I stepped out to smoke and somehow started talking to the 65-year-old neighbor over the fence. Ended up getting drunk with him on the back porch talking about life and crap until about 3 AM. She had already left when I went back inside. Priorities confuse me sometimes. To finish the story though, after I noticed she had left, I convinced Bruce, the neighbor, to come inside and hang out as the party was still going. Ended up getting him to play beer pong, and man was he a freaking ringer. We ended up running the table for like 7 or 8 games. The best part was when we finally lost, we stepped out with a bunch of friends to smoke and he was the one person everyone wanted to talk to. He was seriously now the most important man at the party. Right before he left, he kinda pulled me aside, gave me a great big hug and told me thank you for the best night he's had in 20 years. I'll never forget you, Bruce. You're the freaking man. A few weeks ago I asked myself the same question. I was on my lunch break from work and there I was, sitting in my parked car, by myself, listening to weird 70s jazz. Oh. I just stare at them and don't have the balls to start a conversation with them, minus the simple hello. Flirting level, James May. I don't really leave my room much, excluding classes. I don't ever really feel the need to go out. I just play Steam games and hermit myself away. Who knows, maybe one day a boyfriend will fall out of the ceiling. Better start stocking up on cats. One night I met up with an old college friend in Manhattan for some drinks. We met up with a couple of her friends later that night and headed to her studio apartment at around 2 AM. We get to her place and I ask to use the bathroom. Then one of her friends says, "God, my boyfriend is so cute. Not as cute as ours. Why? SHHH. He can hear you." Yes, I can hear you. Come out of the bathroom and immediately try not to make eye contact. I play with her chihuahua for 10 minutes while the Yankee game encore is playing on the TV. Her friend falls asleep on the couch and then she, my interest, looks at me. "Come over here and sleep for a bit." Ours. Why? No, I can't. My car's parked at a street where I have to move it at 6 AM. And that's like in a couple of hours. "Don't worry, I'll wake you up." "No, I'll just stay awake." "You sure?" "Yep." An hour passes by. I wake up her friend who's sleeping on the couch, give her a ride home. I get home at around 7 AM and think through my life choices over a J and a cold one. I didn't want to get a parking violation. That's why I'm single. So you see, what I did was write a whole new scheduler which now runs multiple threads in parallel. What I do is first calculate the number of records read to you from database in the last hour, divide by total records, and they always increase BT-dub to create number of threads. Then it loops through that many times and does that thread thing. I can positively say that I increased processing time by X times. My response to "What do you do in your firm?" asked by a pretty girl in the bus, whom I had the chance to chat with. I am not a very smart person. Well gosh, if you increased processing time, I can see why she wasn't impressed. I've sworn off dating till I'm employed and making a living wage again. In my current state, I wouldn't be a boyfriend, I'd be a burden. Not going back to the dating pool until I'm the kind of guy I wouldn't mind seeing my own hypothetical daughter date. That's where I'm at right now. Would rather better myself first. Been hitting the gym and have heard from a place that they are really pleased with my resume, so hopefully before too long. Sucks not having a FWB or something though, but oh well. Gather round. Story time. This actually happened some time ago. Still living at home with my parents. I was about 16 at the time. So my mom comes home one day and tells me she had found a little purse someone apparently forgot at a department store. I still remember what it had in it. I took it, opened it, had like $20 in it, some lip gloss thing, some school lid and a piece of gum. Now, it wasn't much, but it was someone else's belongings and I wasn't about to keep them. Now, none of the things in her purse had any personal info other than her name. No phone number, no address, no nothing. So, only thing I could come up with was to look up the school's name, call and ask if she was a student there, and so I did. I called. I explained the situation to whoever was on the other end of the line, but lady on the phone told me she couldn't give me any info on her because it was against policy. That actually made sense, right? I mean, it would be kind of messed up for them to give me any information I wanted on her just because I know her name and where she goes to school. So I told them I'd give them my contact information and asked them to locate that girl. Tell them about the person, give her my info in case she wanted it back. A couple of days went by before I got the call. She sounded appreciative and all. Turns out she lived pretty far away, but she had some sort of class near my house on Saturdays, and we agreed to meet at a McDonald's halfway between her class and my house. Saturday comes. I got to MCD's and waited. I didn't wait long for her to show up. When she did, she seemed really happy and thankful. She told me I could keep the money if I wanted to. All she really needed was the school ID card. I said no, of course. I told her that it was her money and that it didn't seem right for me to keep it for any reason. She thanked me again and said, "Sigh, well, if you won't take my money, let me at least buy us some ice cream." I said no. Again, I told her it would feel wrong to have her spend her money on something I did just out of being a nice guy. I remember her sounding disappointed when she said okay, so I said something to the effect of alright then, see you, or I turned around and walked home. Not long after starting to walk away, I replayed the scene in my mind and thought to myself, you stupid mother. I can't read clues to save my life. I realized that day. I'm too scared of rejection to make a move, and that's why I'm single. Besides low self-esteem and the slew of normal issues, it's things like the fact that I have Riverdance music on my MP3 player. I left my college library at night and halfway down the hill a girl who was walking in front of me turns around and starts talking to me. She says she saw me in the library and asked to walk with her. Thinking nothing of what was happening, I walked with her and just talked about random crap. I got to my block and just said nice to meet you and bye. When I got to my door I realized, god freaking dang. Now you go to the library every night hoping. Completely blank when girls look at me with that look and start flirting with me. I even had a couple beers beforehand, damn it, I'm so awkward. I'm a 22-year-old dude. I was at the bar one night, and this gay guy came up and asked if he could buy me a drink. I politely declined, and explained that I was batting for the other team, but it sparked this entire discussion that I was actually interested in having. I am generally interested in exploring other people's perspectives on things. While we were standing there talking, a small blonde girl walked up to me and said, "Hey, I like your face," and I nodded at her and said thanks. "You too," and went right back to my conversation. The dude I was talking to stared at me, completely flabbergasted, and said something to the effect of, "Are you sure you're not gay? You just crushed that poor girl." So, basically, I'm completely oblivious to the world around me. Because I don't even try. Sad one. Working on not being in love with my best friend. That's going pretty well. Fun one. A couple years ago I was out to dinner with some friends. There was a nice little group of us and they had collectively decided to play the part of my wingman. Yup, I didn't have just one wingman. I had a freaking squadron. Well, our server that night was a really cute waitress. Funny, quick, really doing a great job. My squadron had zeroed in. They were talking me up all night, complimenting her, etc. It was to the point where all I had to do was say, "Hey, let's go out sometime." And that's what I should have said. Sadly, that is not what I actually said. I didn't actually say anything so much as yelled. Yes, yelled. "Pretty women scare me," at which point I put my head on the table and kicked myself. She was super embarrassed as well. Both of us red-faced. The rest of the group took a second to process what happened and then they just started laughing their asses off. If they weren't sitting in chairs, they'd have been rolling on the floor. It was one of the more memorable times when I had a yup, that's why I'm single moment. I'd have to leave my apartment if I wanted to meet someone, but that would require putting on pants. Talked about Pokemon, the Twitch play Pokemon stream thing, for about 15 minutes. She didn't care at all. I'm 25. Frick my life. The problem isn't the Pokemon, it's that she didn't care and you carried on talking about it. Cause I could have a chick hitting on me and I would never know. I'm fairly oblivious and subtlety is not my specialty. I was sitting in the public library reading some random book when a group of girls sat behind me. One of them then sat next to me and started to just try and have a conversation with me. I was skeptical because as she was talking to me I noticed the rest of her friends laughing in the background. This convinced me that they were probably pulling some kind of prank on me. I then decided that I'm not having any of this crap and then just said, is this some kind of joke, and then I left. As I was walking away, I realized she was just trying to make friends with me and that her friends were laughing at her because that's what friends do. Because I won't settle just to have a so. I'd rather be alone than with someone I'm not truly happy with. That's how I feel. There is no point in being in a relationship for the sake of being in a relationship. I'm in an engineering school. Because I don't feel like I will ever meet someone who wants to be with me, and thus, I think men can sense that. Not to say that I have zero confidence, cause I do, but I've been single a long time and I just don't see it happening again. I hope I'm wrong. I was vaping with some people from my guild when a fairly hot guy texted me and asked if I wanted to see a movie or hang out. I didn't bother responding because we were neck and neck in the match and I didn't want the distraction. I get anxiety just from notifications or phone calls. I don't think I could handle a full-on conversation with someone that I was interested in. Well, because I am terrible at picking up signs. I am good looking and pretty muscular. I am just god awful at picking up hints. I'm not even awkward too. There have been countless times I've messed up. One time I was in line at lunch. Cute girl walks up and starts to talk to me, asking what I'm doing. I tell her eating. I say nothing else and she walks away saying she's getting food. I stand there like a statue. Cringe. I put one side of a rubber band on my toe, hold the other side with my finger, and play it as a musical instrument. I open up my fridge and started flirting with my ice cream. Oh yeah, look at you over there, just begging for me to eat you. I've been thinking about you all day. Wait, what am I saying? Dang it, not again. Me and some friends were at a family-owned restaurant that, like Hooters, has a whole paper towel roll at every table. So my first time there, my friends and I are sitting there enjoying our meal when I notice this roll of paper towels. I point and say excitedly, "Hey guys, it's just like at Hooters." To clarify, I was talking about the paper towel roll, but right as I pointed my finger at the roll, our waitress, who had rather nice breasts, stopped at the table. Her breasts were right above the paper towel roll. To her, it looked like I was pointing at her rack and saying just like Hooters. I hung my head in shame. You have been visited by the distinguished doggo of delicious delicacies. Comment tasty supper, pupper, and be blessed with delectable dishes for the next decade. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day, you magnificent people.